Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this space. Welcome to this space. We're going to be talking about practical spiritual living. Can we do that? Can we be practical and spiritual? Yes, we can. And this is an important topic, and it's going to bring us into some spaces of understanding, of inner knowing, of expansion. That's going to be very useful, very helpful to the everyday life, to the human experience you're having in this now. So, practical spiritual living, these topics we're going to go over here, there's going to be several of them. And these are things that we are doing when we are intentionally living to be spiritual. Yes, to be spiritual as humans. This is important because sometimes we become, quote, spiritual, and it's like we want to get out of Dodge. We want to beam me up, Scotty, this kind of thing, get me out of here. Why did I come here? That's the beginning, the very, very, very beginning of the process of even waking up. When you stop wanting to get out of Dodge, when you stop trying to run from everything, that's when you've actually entered into the spiritual self. Because the spiritual self doesn't have to run. The spiritual self doesn't have to get out of Dodge. The spiritual self finds peace and presence in the now. Period. Period. So keeping all of that in mind, let's talk about some practical spiritual living practices, some spiritual living positive points of connection we can hold that will assist our spiritual self that's in our human form, having a now, to truly embrace, embody, be the implementation point of a spiritual life, well lived, well balanced, embodied through wholeness. So one of the first go-to points, this one's I'm sure not gonna surprise any of us, is let's talk about meditation. Meditation for a very long time has been seen as something that could be considered very difficult, that you have to turn off your mind, shut off your thoughts in order to truly meditate in the right way. And I never felt comfortable with that. I never felt comfortable with that process or that understanding or that teaching. And not that everybody in the spiritual community or in even humanity in general teaches it that way. That's not true. Some don't. But it is common for people to look at meditation and say, I could never do that. I can't shut my mind off. I can't quiet those thoughts to that degree. So I'm never going to be able to go deep enough, and I'm never going to be able to experience it the way it's meant to be experienced, so why bother? But meditation at its core, for me, what works for me, what moved and shifted and changed my life in the most positive and incredibly big and brilliant way, was engaging meditation as a space I created for myself, however long it was going to be, it had to be an hour, it had to be 45 minutes. It could have been 2 minutes. And one day it was 10 minutes, and another day it was 30 minutes, and another day I was back to 5 minutes. But those minutes, whatever I was able to do, were a be still and know space. Do you get me? Be still and know space. My mind can be having all of its thoughts of what I need to do and when I need to do it and all of this, what's already happened and how it went and did I do it right and do I want to change it? Oh yes, what about this? What about that? My mind can still be doing all of that, but I can be just still and I can be available to register. The mind is thinking what it's thinking, and my consciousness is allowing itself to go deeper within and be. Whatever way that be is for me. And for some people, it's not even about like truly being still as in physically. And I've even done this as well. I go for a walk and I can go into a meditative state. I sit out in nature. I do a climb, rock formation climb in Sedona, and I sit there for a few minutes when I get to a certain point that I feel I want to stay in for a few minutes, and I go into a meditative state. I watch the sunset and I go into a meditative state. 2 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours, it doesn't matter. There's no time in the quantum. And when you go into a meditative state, you're tapping into the quantum. You're tapping into the eternalness of you, which is the eternalness of everything. So meditation can be as simple as 2 minutes of a nice breath in, a nice exhale out, and just allowing the space. And it can be 20 minutes and it can be 2 hours, and you can put on headsets and earphones or ear pods, and you can put on a mask, and you can allow yourself to drop into a deep meditative state that's almost like you're asleep, but you're still lucid and awake, and you can go exploring. It's your consciousness. Your body is getting the opportunity to just be still. Take a break. Tap out. While you, in your consciousness, your soul, your energy, your essence, your eternal presence, travel and explore in whatever way that is for you. But meditation opens up the doors for spiritual living. Meditation opens up the doors for spiritual living. And what happens if you continue to be available and trust yourself and allow the spaces of life themselves to be what they are. Do not grip them. Do not judge them. Do not try to force them to be something else. Just flow right through as peace. Flow right through as balance. You do not change, even if the reflection changes. And what happens is the be still and know that you implemented in the beginning of the journey of spiritual living being practiced by you. And it was intentionally placed in brackets of time here and there where you could. All of a sudden, it shifts. You shift. And spiritual living, you realize life is a meditation if you're remaining in peace and balance. And you stay there longer and longer as you begin to shift into that being your truth, your essence, your default setting. And so meditation that began in increments of time brackets, forcefully and maybe gently, but somewhere in between as well, taken on by you, implemented by you, embodied by you, purposefully, intentionally to engage spiritual living, all of a sudden it will shift. You will shift. And you will realize with every breath you're in a meditative alignment of your essence. You don't have to go into that meditation traditional layout space any longer because you've begun to live in that type of connectivity with your wholeness, as your wholeness, in your now. And so meditation is key to opening the doors to spiritual living. And then if you'll allow, it will become a state of being. It will become a state of being. And you will live in such deep peace, even if the reflection doesn't look that way. It's insanely interesting, fascinating, exciting, for me at least, may not be for others, but for me it is. Any type of space can begin to come into the view and the experiential field. And I will be able to, 99.9% of the time, I'll be able to register it, read it, receive it, engage it, and maintain this sense of peace, as if I was in a deep meditative state as I'm receiving the information, as I'm connecting in with the experience. There's this, the feeling you get when you're in a deep meditative state? It's really relaxed. It's really chill. It's really anchored, balanced, grounded. So can you imagine living that way? That's what happens. Practical spiritual living is a journey into that space of us being normal. So meditation's on the top of the list. And if you're not big on meditation and you're wanting to enter into this space of yourself, there's a lot of videos available on YouTube in general, but I also have my other channel, A.L. Garris. And on the A.L. Garris channel, I have meditations over there that you can connect in with. Some are called Acasma Quantum Energy Session Music, and some are called meditation audios and so forth. But any of those that I produce, I create them myself. I put the music together, I overlay my words, and they're really powerful energetic connection points, and they can be used for meditation connection as well to go deeper into the spaces of you as you be still and know. And it will become your default setting. Another powerful topic on practical spiritual living is breath work. And I'm going to share some probably very different views of breath work. I've seen a lot of different techniques and I've heard about them and, seen video content and people that teach this. And I've tried a couple of them, but I will say for me personally, I do not take on anybody's system or idea of a specific pattern or this many in, this many out, hold for this long. It just doesn't work for me. And that's okay. It's okay. It's not supposed to work for me because what works for me is allowing my own pattern, allowing my own inhale as long as I want, exhale as long as I want, hold as long as I want, and repeat in the manner that I want. And I teach that in the work that I do, Acasma Quantum Energy, in the Rise of the Goddess course, in the AQE Foundations course, in all of the spaces that I teach, I ask everybody, allow your breath. And the wording even is quite fascinating. I don't say take a breath. I say allow your breath, because that is where we're implying, if you will, your way. I do not say, let's take a breath in, now hold, now hold, now hold, now release, 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 now 4 more in. No, I say, allow your breath. Because you need to allow your breath your way. Breath work is imperative to spiritual living. Breath work is the recenter moment. The minute you take one breath, that's breath work. You take one breath with the intention of even just acknowledging, knowing, sensing, paying attention to your breath as it moves through your vessel. That's breath work. Consciousness, your soul that's inhabiting your form, that when your form is no longer available to you because it dies, your soul doesn't die. Your soul goes on. Your soul will continue. When you're in your form, your soul, in a sense, is infusing your breath. So when you feel your breath, when you acknowledge your breath, when you lean into your breath, sense your breath moving through your form, your way, you're acknowledging your soul, you're acknowledging your consciousness. It's so sacred and it's so beautiful. So allow your breath and allow it your way. Let's try a breath here. I'm going to show you. You do it your way, okay? But watch how long I inhale and exhale. This just works for me, okay? So I say, allow your breath. Allow the space. Let the body drop. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's a breath. Unique to me. You have a breath unique to you. The most powerful breath work you can do is your breath. There's also a breath pattern we do talk about in several of the spaces I teach, and I call it the I am breath. I've done it before on different teaching videos and on YouTube as well. And so the I am breath is what I just spoke about, the understanding of your soul, your consciousness is your breath. And you are source, a spark, a space of, a facet of source, having this now exploration. So source through you as you, but in this particular unique version of you to expand itself, yourself. So when you do this breath and you hold that understanding you of the I am, that you are, that's having a now, you allow that on the breath. So I'll show you what it's like. And then if you ever want to try it, you can. Call it the I am breath. Because the I am is on your breath, is in your breath, is your breath. You are never separate. You are never separate. So here's what it's like, okay? Inhale. And you allow yourself to really feel with everything in you, the I am, within the breath. How close, the no separation. So I really love that breath as well. And practical spiritual living entails developing your intuition. And it's really important that we look at the word developing, because everyone has intuition. And when we begin the process of spiritual awakening and then the process of spiritual living, which is the only way awakening truly continues and it never stops, you're never done. You're never like, oh, I woke up. You're continually waking up in a sense, because you're continually expanding into a new space of you that you've never been before. Oh, look where we are now. Look where we are now. Another wake up, another wake up, another wake up. So if you're allowing spiritual living, the intuition is developing. Yes. And it's expanding as you're expanding. But that's the key, is like the only way we live a spiritual life is to embody it and live it, put it into action. Or it's just spiritual knowledge. It's not a spiritual life. It's not a spiritually embodied state of being. And your intuition develops as you allow it to. So you have to ask of it. You have to live a life in which it has space to show up, to be heard, and to be trusted by you. If you do not trust yourself and you're unavailable to even trust yourself, your intuition will never, ever expand. It'll stay stalled out, stuck, cycled in a specific space of itself, because you have not given it any opportunity. You have not given it any availability in which it can do what it is here to do. So you can start by allowing the concept of it's developing. And a developing space means it has increments of expansion. It has a foundational space, and then it grows off of that onto that, from that. So trusting that this is happening and then allowing yourself to listen to you more and more. Yes. And eventually you'll need less and less outside confirmation. So many people are already going to know what I mean by that. But what I'm saying is, in the beginning of developing intuition, we ask for guidance. We're available to trust ourselves, but we're not there yet. So we ask for guidance. We ask oracle cards for guidance. We ask tarot cards for guidance. We ask the pendulum for guidance. We ask the angels for guidance. We ask our spiritual teachers for guidance. We ask a dear friend for guidance. We ask a family member for guidance. We ask God for guidance. We ask universe for a sign, a confirmation. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're developing our intuition, but eventually you will reach a state of being, and be available, please, where you don't need to ask as much. And eventually you hardly ask at all. You just know that you know that you know, and you show up and you live spiritually. But allow that intuition to develop and be mindful. Do it safely in the sense that you are mindful of the sources you utilize as you are allowing its development, and you are allowing outside influences or assistance, because it can get tricky and people can become too dependent, and then all of a sudden they've got to get their read every single day, or they've got to get their specific confirmation or sign every single day, and you rut, you cycle, you loop, you pattern, and before you know it, you're stuck in a specific energetic field alignment and you're not moving any longer. Being available to your intuition and then no longer seeking, having to have some type of sign. They're fantastic. In the beginning, it freaks you out because you're not used to it. And it's like, what the heck? This is amazing. And then it shifts and you realize the signs have been there all along. And they're at a number beyond your comprehension with every breath. And you don't even need to see them anymore because you trust with everything in you. It's always taking you, universe, God, your connection as spirit, as the I am, having a now in your human form. You're taking you where you need to go. And the intuition is developing as you're allowing this space of spiritual living to develop as well. Now, there are some grounding techniques that are very helpful for the implementation of spiritual living. We should talk about those as well. The work I do, Acasma Quantum Energy, its core factor point, if you will, is assisting the ascension process through grounding frequencies. Its core point of existence for humanity in this now is to assist with the grounding frequencies. Because if you do not ground as a spiritual being, if you do not ground, that human vessel cannot calibrate. It cannot assess its energetic frequencies and vibrations in a healthy manner, and it will become sick. It will become out of balance. It will be incoherent. And it won't be able to shift into a new space of its knowing of itself, understanding of the world around it. It will not process itself in the most efficient and healthy way. Grounding allows us to do just that. Take the spaces of our energy that we're in at the moment, the flow of our consciousness at the moment, and anchor it in deeply. To embody it in the now, not I'm grounded in my spiritual truth and then go live like you lived yesterday or 10 years ago or a year ago. That's not grounding in your spiritual truth at all. That's cycling yesterday. Life should look different. It should feel different. And it should be different if you're different. And if you're living spiritually, you're always moving into the next space of yourself. Grounding techniques for sensitive people, they're going to be even more important because these people are processing energy in a very intense manner. It does not need to remain your norm, but I understand it is where many people are. But you do not have to stay there. No matter what you think you were born as, sensitive or not, you can learn how to process these energies very efficiently. Everyone has the opportunity to do that. Empaths, mediums, spiritual sensitives, you all have the opportunity to leave the program belief structure of I'm sensitive, and you have the opportunity to shift it into a new vantage point, a new perceptual view of yourself that will then allow for a different interpretation to be received. Sensitive can be registered as things can get to you easily. They are heavier for you. They're more intense for you because you're sensitive, you know. It can also mean, a total different definition can mean that you're so powerful in your register of energy that you are able to sense, predict, navigate from an entirely different field of existence because of your ability with your sensitivity. Your dial is so precise. Yes. That you hold that strength. It's very different interpretation points. But as you're developing your intuition and you're allowing yourself to become a walking, talking, breathing state of peace and balance, you're learning how to breathe into this space of you. And as this space of you, you are going to benefit from grounding your energies along the journey, always, no matter where you're coming in at with whatever perceptual viewpoint of yourself you hold. So here's some techniques really quickly, okay? You can envision your feet. Yes. See your feet in your mind's eye, or hold the intention. I'm connecting in with my feet. And on the bottoms of your feet, you have little circular energy centers, a lot of them on the bottoms of your feet, toes to heel, covering the whole bottom of your feet. So you see your feet, or you intend, I'm connecting in with my feet, and I'm activating the centers on the bottom of my feet. If you've already done this, been working with me for a while, you have. I'm blessing the centers on the bottoms of my feet. And you could even be activating them to a new level of grounding as well. So you're initiating and directing that by stating this, by holding this intention in alignment. And then you're going to allow yourself to envision and or direct your root lines that are coming down your legs from the bottom of your torso. You have lines of light, just like you probably believe and understand and know you have veins that carry blood all the way down your legs. Some of you may be aware of you have meridian lines all the way down your legs, all over your whole body. You have veins all over your whole body. Well, you have lines of light inside your body. And they come down your legs and they go out your feet and they connect in with light to light, energy to energy, with the energy of the earth. Your body's designed to live on the planet. And a massively powerful grounding technique for everyone across the board is the Acasma root reconnection. Acasma, A-C-A-S-M-A. Acasma. It's an energy healing modality I work with and I bring forth to people. So you see your feet. You intend, I connect with my feet. My energy centers on my feet are open and active. And my root lines are anchoring deeply in with the earth's energy. Now you're talking about the earth in its origin. So it's its original earth. Many have also called it a new earth, but it's its origin before distortion. People that find me, you're here to do this for yourself and for many other reasons as well. But that's another video or episode, and it's in a podcast for another day. So intending to activate the feet centers, the root lines, and let them run and let them connect with the earth, and breathing. On the exhale, the root lines are going deeper. Yes. And you're just allowing the space. And the breath work we talked about, the I am breath, fantastic grounding technique, fantastic grounding technique, whether on its own, I am breath, or I am breath as you're intentionally moving the energy down your legs, out your feet, into the earth. This is grounding at a new level for humanity. Going out in nature and walking around on the earth and touching the trees, absolutely fantastic, fabulous grounding. This is another level. This is quantum grounding. You are a quantum being. You are a multidimensional being. You need to be doing both. We need to be doing both. You're going to want to be mindful of your energy. Some of the ways in which this would be spoken in the past would be like protect your energy. But if you feel you need to protect your energy, you're still living in a field or a belief structure of yourself in which you are not in a space of your energy, your consciousness, your soul as your I am. Because the I am is the I am. And so it doesn't need protection because it is the I am. So it's allowing its flow of frequency to emanate out, broadcast out. I am frequency. And I am frequency is just I am. Peace, balance, coherence. But for people that are living, practicing spiritual living, and they've just come into the door, the room, the party, they've just begun the journey, they're still healing fear. They're still healing fear. And if you're still healing fear, then you're going to need to meet yourself right where you're at. And you're going to need to understand that because of those fears of whatever you're afraid of, you're going to be on an experiential plane where the field can create experiences for you that are scary. So you're going to need protection in a sense because you're living in an alignment in which protection is kind of needed because of your belief structure. And you can leave it at any moment. I did. I lived there 40 some years of my life and I left. And the only way you leave is you have to confront the fear. You have to not rebuke it, cast it out, and all these things where you're fighting it. Because you're fighting it, then you're claiming the reality of it and the reality of your battle with it, which will only create more battles with it and that type of loop. If you don't want that anymore, then you don't battle it. You just lay down the gauntlet and say, I'm love and I am peace and I am whole. And this isn't even a game I play anymore. You can be terrified in the moment. I was the first couple of times because you'll create out-of-body experiences, you'll create dream space experiences, or you might call them nightmares, you'll create weird energy session spaces, or just whatever it is. You'll create the experiences you need in order to give you the opportunity to not react the way you have, but to respond as the new vibration that's living in the new field, and then the old field dissolves. So protecting your energy, or being aware of how you're directing your energy, that's going to fall under the understanding of the inner knowing of where are you? Who are you? How do you see you? If you're still separate from God and you're still outside of the mix, hoping some archangel saves you, or hoping some dragon comes in and saves you, or hoping some whatever it is, ascended master, your past loved one, then your level of need of protection is going to be a lot different than somebody who is walking inside of a coherent flow of remembrance of themselves as the I am. And there's nothing wrong with these things at all. It's just information. The field registers frequency, vibration. That's its information. If the information you're sending out is, I'm afraid, it's bigger than me and it could get me, it's going to create an experiential space to back that up. Practical spiritual living, we can move into another space of the bullet points, if you will. Creating daily rituals. I did another video on 10 things I do now that I didn't do then, since I woke up, since I spiritually awakened. And so, the whole creating daily rituals, or even weekly, whatever works for you, it is part of a spiritual life. It's like an acknowledgement point in the middle of the day or wherever you're placing it, whether it's a moment where you just walk by an altar you made, which could be a windowsill with a crystal or a rock from your yard or a pine cone from a tree or whatever it is that is a symbol to you of a connective point of consciousness with Source, with God. But it can be a moment where you light a tea light candle and you just say thank you. For me, in the very beginning of this ritual, creating daily rituals, for me it was, I made an altar space in one of the rooms in our home that people didn't go in a whole lot. It was like a den. And I made an altar space in there. And I put stuff on the altar that I loved, that reflected me. It was so beautiful, such a self-love moment. And then I remember I would just do my best to get in there every day for at least 5 minutes. And I would light a tea light and I would sit there for just a moment. As I would light it, I would say, I connect in with my remembrance of myself as Source. I allow the divine to flow. And I would light the candle and sit there and breathe. And I would say, thank you for my life. I love my life. Sometimes I would send blessings out to my family members or friends, or if somebody in particular needed assistance, I would send something lovely to them, an energetic blessing. But creating daily rituals is very, very helpful in implementing a successful connection point of yourself in the spiritual sense, spiritual living. So that can be a walking meditation, could be a ritual, like go for a little walk every day and just admire nature the whole time. You're not out there to lose weight. You're not out there to tone your butt. You're not out there to figure out the next thing of life. Just admiring nature. Every day, take a little walk. That could be a ritual, or every other day, or once a week, whatever works for you. But exercising, yoga, tai chi, qigong, prayer, meditation, sitting with a crystal. Allow your imagination, do an oil blessing, get a little bottle of whatever oil you like and put a little bit on your hand and place it on your forehead. And I open my eye that I may see the truth and breathe. It could be a daily ritual. But creating daily rituals that support your spiritual life is a very, very powerful way to engage this next level of you. And what you're doing is you're actually living consciously in a modern world. You're living consciously in a modern life. You're living consciously as a human being. Because you can be living very carnal, very flesh-based, very materialistic, or you can be living, super spiritual and super enlightened, where you can't even stand hardly to be on earth. You can't even stand hardly to be on this world. You judge everything you see. You're mad about everything you connect with. You don't like anybody that doesn't like you. That is not enlightened. That is not spiritual. That is a pissed off human that's trying to find their way home to themselves. There's nothing wrong with it. It's part of the process. But let's get real and let's get clear about what it is and what we're doing. Take a deep breath. Be still and know. Get grounded. Set up some spaces for yourself that remove you from constantly seeing these programs that have got you so divided and angry. And I don't laugh because I think it's funny. I just know with everything in me, this is all part of the process, and we are so ready. Many have already left the building. They're living in an entirely new field of existence, successfully, abundantly, embodying the divine I am flow in the now. And these trivial, incredibly divisive, small talk spaces don't even exist for them anymore. And if you hear them and they frustrate you, just do your best to breathe through it and let them go, because they're just trying to hold on to you. Just let them go. They don't even ping me anymore. It's been years since they pinged me because I don't live in those fields. It's just like when I talk about I don't have the nightmares anymore, or I don't have the out-of-body dark entities anymore, or the sleep paralysis. I don't live there anymore. It cannot ping you if you don't live there. You don't have a doorbell in that space of the field. Living consciously in a modern or life space is imperative. And I'm grateful beyond measure to everyone who has chosen to step into this space of yourself. You've chosen peace and balance over division and hate. You've chosen peace and balance. And I get it. There's going to be people on all sides of the table, all sides of the coin, whatever the phrases are. They're going to think their version knows what hate is, and this guy's going to think their version knows what hate is. And you know what? Hate is hate. Hate is hate. And you can wrap it up in all different kinds of ways. But at the end of the day, if you're able to remove yourself from judgment on anything outside of you and just get your straight, that's all you're here to do. Not play a part of anybody else's role or play that they've written that needs actors or actresses or actors to come in and amplify whatever program they're feeding you. Like, tap out. Tap out. Living consciously in modern life is being unattached to all of these programs that are part of the old way. Make decisions for yourself. Do not need to put your decisions on anybody else. If they have different decisions than you and you're not able to still love them, that's an evaluation point you might want to look at. Sometimes it's about setting boundaries. That's fine. That's normal. That's a reality, absolute. But be mindful and be very aware of, is it your ego saying that this is a boundary is needed, or is it truly that a boundary is needed? The last thing we're going to talk about, spiritual discipline and spiritual flow. And this is really important for practical spiritual living. So many times we can be on the spiritual path and we can be engaging a spiritual life, but it can become so disciplined and so structured that it becomes obligatory. We see it as an obligation. We see it as, if I miss my meditation, I've just, effed it up. If I have a fight with somebody and I can't maintain my spiritual groundedness, then I've screwed it up. If I balance, peace, coherent flow is what spiritual flow is all about. No attachment to what somebody else's spiritual flow looks like or doesn't look like. Let them live their lives. Let them have their own journey. Do yours. And if your journey, you lay it out a certain way, if you realize you've become rigid in your journey, like you have to do A, B, C, D, E every single day a certain way, or you're not spiritual, then that is a space you will want to evaluate and hopefully shift, because you're losing your spiritual flow as you're embodying too much spiritual structure. Does this make sense to you? It's designed, life is designed to be ebb and flow. Life is designed to be zig and zag. Life is designed to be you anchoring as peace and balance. No matter what the experiential space is doing, you are who you are. The space isn't telling you who you are. Practical spiritual living is the embodiment of knowing thyself and living from that truth of who you are, that essence, understanding of you, unwavering as life ebbs and flows. Practical spiritual living is spiritual flow. You can get extremely good at spiritual discipline, But if it becomes too rigid, too structured, too demanding, you've lost your spiritual flow. Spirit itself, the interactivity of our own consciousness with source space consciousness, a space of ourself that's outside of the form that we are here. You have this dance that you do. You have this communicative, connective flow that we do. It's where you get your intuitive hits from. It's where you get your knowings and your guidance. And it's because it's this one massive, sacred, divine flow field with variation points. And when we're in spiritual flow mode, Spirit speaks. Spirit moves. And when we're in a disciplined space of spiritualism that doesn't allow for flow, we've shut the space down. We've gripped it. We've boxed it up. So, allow your flow. This is what I go with. This is my motto, okay? My mantra, my motto, my go-to. Is this bringing me joy? And is this supportive of who I know I am and where I want to go? Where I am now, where I love my life now, and also where I want it to go as well. Does this support that? Does this align with it? Is it a vibrational flow alignment? Does this bring me joy? If it becomes an obligation, no. Off the list. Maybe you get put back there later, but right now you're off my list because you're an obligation and I don't need an obligation. My life flows in the most incredible ways when I stay in my heart and I allow my joy. What is the most beneficial thing I could do today to continue to align the frequency of this vibration of this now, this me that I know I am? And then I could get into a pattern where I'd say, I'd really like to just lay around today. And I say, well, maybe that's okay because maybe I've been doing a lot and producing a lot and maybe a lay around day really fits. But I'm honest with myself. Maybe I had a lay around day yesterday. And maybe that's a pattern I don't need to feed or create. So I'm mindful and I say, well, no, that actually won't bring me joy in the long run. Because after I lay around a day, again, for day 2, I'll be over-rested, which means I'm going to feel sluggish. And I'm going to feel like I was not available to the next best space of myself. So you have to do you your way. But allowing a register, an interpretation by you on your spiritual practices, on the way you're living as a spiritual being in a human form. Is it too disciplined? Is it not disciplined enough? Is there still flowing? Is there too much flowing? And only you can say, and only you should say. Because what works for me, what is spiritually disciplined, balanced flow for me, may not be for you. Some people, they have to hardcore meditate every single day. I do not. But I do this for a living. I take people into the field every day in some way, whether it's a group or a client. I'm in the quantum field all the time. I'm just also aware that I'm in a physicality as well as human. I live from this. I'm embodying it. That's meditative living, So everybody's spiritual practices and spiritual living is going to look very different. Because we're all very different. And so it should. It should. It makes sense, right? So let yours look the way it needs to look for you. And let your partner, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your other, your kid, your mother, your father, your friend, the stranger you meet in public, let them do it their way. And everyone will have the opportunity to develop and to expand and explore and grow in a way that's best for them. That's New Earth frequency. That's origin frequency, returning as the human remembers who they are. All right, I'm going to lay this at your feet. This has been a really beautiful time together. Thank you for being a part of the AwakenPod. And thank you for choosing to live awakened. Blessings upon you, holy ones. Blessings.